All right, welcome to Fantasy Football Turds. All right, we're going to do Champ or Chump. We're going to do a little comparison episode, taking two dudes in the same area of ADP in a 12-team PPR redraft league. And I'm looking at guys where I would take the guy that's a little lower on the ADP, and we're going to pick the Champ and Chump between comparisons here. First, what would you say? Comparison in Champ or Chump is going to be the rookies, Travis Etienne or Javonte Williams. You can get these guys, I think, right now in around the 7th or 8th round. Let's look at Etienne's ADP right now is 85th, which I think is about the 7th round. And then Javonte's is, dang, that's way deeper. It's like almost 2 rounds later. All right, so let's look at those situations. Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, they both got drafted as rookies. They both got relatively high draft capital. Travis Etienne is obviously a first-rounder. Javonte Williams drafted in this early second round. Etienne was a lot of people's favorite running back in this class. I personally disagree with that. I like Javonte Williams just as a prospect better than Etienne. They're drafted to very similar situations in that there is an incumbent running back that already could have gone into the season as the lead RB on the team, but different, of course. First, so let's go with Javonte Williams real quick. Javonte Williams, I just like him overall as a prospect a little bit better. He reminds me of like Kamara with more power. So you got Alvin Kamara talent, Alvin Kamara smoothness, Alvin Kamara contact balance, but I think he's a more powerful version of that where he can actually just destroy you man to man and just start bulldozing people. And he came in with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, 27 years old. I think he might be 28 at some point during the season. Obviously missed time last year with injury. I already like the situation there just because Melvin Gordon might be entering the season of his career, the twilight of his prime, to where he already got hurt last year. He's always been known to be a guy that doesn't have the best knees in the game. And so I think just on the fact that Melvin might be getting hurt at some point during the season, Javonte may get the opportunity pretty quickly at some point to be the bell cow, to be the number one guy, just on that. And then add in the fact that I think he's way better. And he's younger, and he was a high draft pick in that in that team. He was a high second-round draft pick, and Melvin is on an okay contract, like a mid-range running back contract, which I think they can get out of after this year. This just has Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins written all over it. Like it's an older guy, a veteran presence in case the rookie doesn't really pop quickly and learn the schemes and figure out the NFL well, but the younger guy looks more talented, looks more fresh, looks more ready to go, and a somewhat high draft capital. The only thing is, I love that situation other than the fact that he's splitting. I think it's going to be one of those by the end of the year, Javonte's clearly better and probably taken over. But it's a worse team. I think the offense with Trevor Lawrence is going to be kind of like Cincinnati last year with Joe Burrow. Instantly better, and instantly, because of the talent of Trevor Lawrence, forget about even what Urban Meyer ends up doing offensively. I don't even know if Urban Meyer is going to last as a coach in the NFL. I think that Trevor Lawrence has enough talent to make this an offense in Jacksonville that's at least average and getting a lot of scoring opportunities and getting in the red zone. Whereas Denver, Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, overall, that whole situation concerns me. Also, there's been rumor that Deshaun Watson's going to come over from the Texans. I don't even know if he's going to play. You would think that that's definitely going to make the offense better, but also what's weird is Deshaun Watson on any offense, he has an effect on the offense where it's going to be better. There's more scoring opportunities, more red zone opportunities, but he's a running quarterback. Running quarterbacks typically do not throw much to their running backs, and Javonte Williams is a guy who can catch passes, and that would be a huge part of his value. And let's say Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, not even Drew Lock. If Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, he's going to be checking down to guys like Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, so that could be a great situation there. Let's jump over to Jacksonville. Etienne. James Robinson was one of the best running backs in football last year. Simple. top 10 in terms of PFF, in terms of all the various ways you would rank a running back in football. He was awesome. This is my overall thought. I could be wrong. Check back in a year. Check back in 6 months. I could be very wrong on this. There's something about the way Urban Meyer has been operating so far that already is red flagging a little bit for me in terms of the college coach coming to the NFL. We know how rarely that works out. We've seen countless flameouts. We've seen a couple people succeed. Pete Carroll, of course, John Harbaugh during that era at the same time actually succeeded. Jury's still out, I think, a little bit on Cliff Kingsbury. They're okay. They're definitely better than they were before he came, so you could say that that's been going better. The offenses are solid, but I don't know. I still don't know if that's going to work in the long run. My point being, I don't love that he drafted a running back in the first round when you have a great running back. This has been said, but it just speaks to me a little bit. Other than the fact that I think it was not the best decision, it was one of his first key decisions. It's his second first-round pick under his era, and he already made what I believe is an unwise decision for roster construction, and then immediately said, "Oh, he's just going to be a third down guy. We're going to use him as a receiver." It's like, why would you draft a guy that in the first round who's a running back to be a receiver? Why, like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't. Part of me, this is kind of my logic here. I don't trust, right out the gate, I do not trust Urban Meyer's judgment. I have a feeling he might be a 2 to 3 year flameout, which means I don't trust necessarily his usage of Travis Etienne or that team. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be so good and so he's so talented that he's going to be able to overcome multiple iterations of coaching flameouts or offensive coordinator flameouts and things of that nature. You know, even worst case scenario, like a Carson Wentz, he was almost an MVP. Then he had 2 terrible years, or 3, 2.5, and now he's going to the Colts. I think he's going to be great this year. You know, people can have long careers and still be great. My point being is I don't know about this Urban Meyer situation. I don't know about how he's operating. I don't love it. I don't love that they drafted him and immediately said he's going to basically play wide receiver. It doesn't make any sense. He's talented, but I think Javonte's more talented. I think the offense in Jacksonville is going to have more scoring opportunities. But overall, I don't love the potential role. I think Javonte was drafted to eventually be the bell cow, and they know it. I'm going to go so I think Javonte right now, I think is being drafted 2 rounds later in ADP. I think it was on Fantasy Pros, but in a lot of drafts, maybe a round or 2 later than Etienne. I personally, in a vacuum, straight across, forget about ADP, I would take Javonte Williams over Travis Etienne. So in this situation, Javonte Williams is the champ. Travis Etienne is the chump. All right, that worked. Oh, crap. I have to answer this call real quick. All right, pause. Oh, never mind. Don't pause. Did you keep it rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay, cool. All right, round 2, the second champ or chump comparison. I'm actually going to throw 3 people into the mix on this one because I kind of want to make an extra point with these guys. So we're going to look in the range of, and this is a perfect little segue because we were talking about James Robinson and Travis Etienne. I'm going to bring up guys in a similar range of drafts, right, or of drafting right now. We got Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, and Ronald Jones. Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, Ronald Jones. There can only be one champ. In this situation, there will be 2 chumps. Let's go over it real quick. So Kareem Hunt his ADP is 45th right now, which if my math is correct, that's the high 3rd round. Is that right? 12 times 4 is 48, correct? Yeah, okay, cool. 12 times 4 is 48. Am I an idiot? 12, 24, 36. No.
It's 48.
Okay, so he's in the 4th round. and then James Robinson's ADP is 42, a little bit ahead. So around the same ADP there within a few picks. But then you got a guy named Ronald Jones, pick number 68, almost 2 rounds later in terms of ADP right now. All right, let's go over real quick. Kareem Hunt, Kareem Hunt's great. He's great for what he is. He's an RB2. He's a flex. We know that. But he's also a handcuff at the same time. Here's the thing, though. When Nick Chubb went down last year, Kareem Hunt, we all thought this is the best handcuff in the game. This guy's an RB1 on any team if he's playing for them. But he's on the Browns, so He's the backup to Chubb as the primary runner, but he still gets enough usage to get whatever. Then Chubb goes down. We're thinking, oh, my God, if you have Kareem Hunt, you got an instant fucking 30 points a game guy. What happens? He ends up being, not bad, almost bad. Like, really, for what we expected. He had multiple games where I think he was like under 9 points PPR as a bell cow in that offense. That's not good. You can't be having that, especially with the expectations that you had. He had multiple good games during that time, too. But let's just say, as a handcuff, he performed average, if not below average, for what you're looking for at that elite handcuff, production. Secondly, as the RB2 in that offense, as an RB2 in fantasy football, that's what he is. He's a back-end mid-range RB2. He has the opportunity to take over if Chubb goes down, but we saw what happened. He catches passes. That's pretty cool. But we kind of know what he is. He's relatively safe in this way. So that's his situation. I basically just think that nothing changes there. You're drafting Kareem Hunt from last year and maybe thinking, all right, if he gets hurt, or if Chubb gets hurt, then I got, if you have Chubb, you can get Hunt, and one is your RB1, the other one's an RB2/flex, but then he's also a dual purpose because he's a handcuff there too. Okay, James Robinson, the incumbent to the offense, is being drafted over a guy like Ronald Jones. James Robinson, who I love and I had last year, talented, high grades on PFF. Nothing wrong with that guy except the team decided to draft a running back in the first round. We just went over it. I don't trust all the same stuff I just said about Urban Meyer and the Jags and Etienne, the whole situation. I don't trust it. Etienne, even though he said he's going to play him as a receiver, I think he's going to have to at some point get some work at running back. Otherwise, you just look like a madman, Urban Meyer. If you draft a running back in the first round, only play him as I think he said he's going to line him up at receiver. I like the idea of James Robinson in general, but his ADP should be fucking 11 round, 12th. He should be way down. He should be treated more like the Melvin Gordon half of the Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon combo. Like he should not be treated as even really, I think, a safe RB2. I think he has flex, if not on the bench potential going into this year. And you just don't want to be drafting that around. I wouldn't be taking that in the 4th or 5th round. I'd be hoping to get a guy like that in the 8th or 9th. Let's get to Ronald Jones. So let's just say I don't like the situation with James Robinson, and I don't think his ceiling is very high, and I think last year may have been the best year he'll ever have. And it was a pretty good year, but, that's he's not going to get the same role that he had last year. Okay, Ronald Jones, a guy that I think is being universally disrespected in almost every ADP. Ronald Jones is 23 years old. Bruce Arians notoriously does not like young players. He doesn't like rookies. He doesn't even really love second-year guys. He can fall in love. He did there. But during the Bruce Arians era, Ronald Jones has slowly but surely gotten more and more and more and more work until last year he started to become the bell cow in that offense, especially towards the second half. Then he got hurt. Then Lombardi-Lenny came in during the playoffs and did great, but Ronald Jones was hurt, so remember that. I think a lot of people have that recency bias about Leonard Fournette that, he's the guy because of the play. I don't think he's the guy at all. I think he's back on a 1-year contract. I don't think he's that good. That's the other thing about Leonard Fournette. I think I don't know, you just watch him now, and he's starting to look like we all thought he might look after 4 years in the NFL, which is like this is a bigger guy that's built on running people over, and he's already starting to look like his feet are getting slow. Ronald Jones, however, 23 years old, just keeps looking better and better and better. He looks like he understands the game better. It's year 2 in the offense. I think it's Tampa Bay, so they're going to have tons of scoring opportunities. It's one of those situations. It's like Aaron Jones 2 or 3 years ago before he broke out, and it was always Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams for like 2 years. But we all were like, yeah, Aaron Jones is better. So when is this going to happen? McCarthy leaves, everything switches, Aaron Jones becomes a beast. The idea is like if you can get the RB1 in in one of the best offenses in football, which that's what this is gonna be. This is gonna be a top 7 offense, I bet. Go for it. I mean, this is similar. It's a different conversation, but with the Bills, both of those guys are out of this ADP range and out of this discussion, in my opinion. But it's like if you can get Aaron Jones before he breaks out as Aaron Jones in the Green Bay Packers offense, taking a shot at a high end or the starting running back on a great offense, do it. And I don't even think you're really taking a shot. I think at worst it's a 50-50 split on a great offense. So the Jags, going back to the other comparison, the Jags and the Broncos, you're picking between two different running backs there. Both of those offenses are like, I don't know. This is a great offense, and you're looking at a potential worst-case split between Lenny and Jones, but I don't think it's going to be that. I think Jones is going to be it's going to be a 60-40, something like that, maybe 70-30 Jones. And he's not being drafted like that. He's behind guys like Kareem Hunt, who has a very low upside. He's behind James Robinson, very low upside. So you guys can probably tell where I'm going with this. We have a champ. That champ is Ron Jones, which means we have two chumps. We got all right.
I was ready.
He's on the chump dump. All right, we got, what is it, Kareem Hunt and James Robinson. Chumps. Come on, flush them. Okay. So and this is what's so dope is like so far, you might notice this, a little trend here. These are guys I'd rather have in a vacuum, but the champs I'm picking, you can get like 2 rounds later. I'd rather have them straight across, even if they were all at the same range. Okay, let's move to the final one. This is kind of higher up in the rankings, the final comparison of champ or chump. Let me pull up my little ADP. All right. Who are the 2 guys I want to go over real quick? Okay, Josh Jacobs and David Montgomery. Josh Jacobs is at pick number 26, so that's early third round. And David Montgomery is going at pick 33, so mid third round. So we got 2 third-round picks. Jacobs is over 7 spots higher than David Montgomery. Okay, let's go over it. I'm just going to trash the Raiders. I'm going to take a hard stance against the Raiders. I'm not in the know by any means, and I'm not a football expert, but I do not like what they did in the offseason. And look, it's easy to look at what they did and say, like, they got rid of their 3 best offensive linemen and then signed Kenyon Drake to borderline starter money when they already have a first-round draft pick from 3 years ago at running back. And the whole thing, the optics are bad. But I'm not just trying to say this as, like, a talking point to repeat. I don't really understand the point of it based on what they ended up with and the moves they made and the needs they had. Like, their offensive line wasn't even a strength of the team last year because multiple guys were hurt, and now they get rid of 3 of those guys. Maybe they have a plan where it's like, no, we have some guys behind them that we think are great that you don't know about. That's fair. And also, hey, maybe we think Kenyon Drake can be like we got Bryan Edwards, we got Henry, we got Ruggs, we got Darren Waller. We see that as the 3 primary, and Drake is more like a slot guy. I don't know. And maybe they just think that they need to have a strong backup. Maybe they're looking at a team like the Browns. I'll give them this. And they're saying, ooh, Chubb and Hunt. And maybe that's what we got going on. Those are all the potentially like the logic behind it. I don't like it. And I don't think it's going to work out that way. I think Kevin Stefanski runs a more creative and better, more well-executed and more creative offense than Gruden does. So I don't think you're just going to get, even if they're trying to copy the Chubb-Hunt offensive combo, I don't think you're getting Chubb-Hunt value. I think you're getting a tier below that. So Josh Jacobs is a high-end RB2, back-end 1, whereas Nick Chubb's an elite 1. Kareem Hunt's that mid RB2 flex, and then you got potentially Kenyon Drake being a flex at best. So I think that's what we're dealing with here. Everybody was talking about how going into last year, Josh Jacobs is going to make the leap. And I think it's safe to say he did not. He did. He had a solid year. I'm not saying he was trash. He's good. In Dynasty, you want to hold him. But I'm not excited about the direction they went last year. They gave him I think they doubled his targets. But then they just brought a pass catcher into the offense. So now you're wondering, it's like, oh, are they not going to fuck with more targets for him? So I don't know if he's going to be a 3-down back. I think you're looking at a poor man's Chubb in an offensive system that's trying to treat him the same way. So that's my take on Jacobs. However, we got a man named David Montgomery who struggled in his first few years in the NFL, and then absolutely beasted out last year. And I think that Matt Nagy finally figured something out. It's like, look, if we can control the game and control the football with a running game, it can make my offense finally look okay. I think Andy Dalton is going to start for at least a few games, but even with what's his dumbass name, Justin Fields, I passed up on him in rookie draft, so I don't even think about him anymore. He is a running quarterback, so I don't know how much check down to the RB there's going to be, but I think in general he's going to open up lanes as a runner, and there is a Tariq Cohen in the mix here to potentially catch passes. I love what Dave Montgomery did for 6 weeks last year. I don't know if Josh Jacobs has ever done in 3 years, and he's been the primary guy for 3 years. I think this offense is going to get better. I think Montgomery is a good running back. I think they're actually similar in ability. I really do. Even though Jacobs was a first rounder and Montgomery was a third, I think coming out of college, a lot of people like Dave Montgomery a lot closer than a first and a third round in terms of their ability. I think the offense is going to get more explosive and consistent with Justin Fields, or Andy Dalton sticks around for a while, and guess what he does? Check down to Montgomery. I just think you have an overall higher upside and a solid floor, whereas Jacobs and the Raiders, the whole situation I think is a mess. You can get Jacobs 7 spots higher than Montgomery, so why not go get Montgomery, who I think is going to be better in a vacuum? So today we're going to declare David Montgomery as the champ, and Josh Jacobs is the chump. All right, that's champ or chump. Those are 3 comparisons that I threw out where in the ADP, not only can you get certain guys at a cheaper price, I think even if they were similarly priced, this is who I would pick. So hopefully that helps. We might keep doing champ or chump. That's really fun to throw farts in there. Thank you for watching Fantasy Turds. My name is Nolan. I have a couple other co-hosts that'll be on another time, Brett and Joey. This is Max on the keys. Subscribe to, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe if you like the video, share it, all the fun stuff, and throw in the comments. We're going to start doing team breakdowns. So if you like the idea of some team breakdowns, feel free to DM us on Instagram, Fantasy Football Turds, with your team. Screenshot your team, send it to us, and we can do some team breakdowns. Think about how we would maybe make that thing stronger. What else to promote? Let's just say that's it. I'm at Nolan Culver on Instagram. We're at Third Wheel Podcast Studio. This is my studio in Seattle and LA. And thank you for watching. Smooches. Bye-bye.